Ave Maria, Reconquista, in Torpedo. Hey everybody, I'm Abel K, and this is Cigar Vlog. So, right off the bat, if this does not get the award for most pretentious cigar band ever, and then I don't know what in the hell does. This is another line from AJ Fernandez, and hopefully this will be better than the other Ave Maria that I tried, which was the Divinia. I was rather disappointed with the Divinia because of the fact that it was kind of overhyped in the article that I saw about it. Well, not article, but the ad for it in the catalog that I had. Turned out to be definitely not a bad cigar, but it was not this, ambrosia-laden kiss from an angel like they were trying to paint it out to be. Hopefully this will be a different story. As you can see, he's got this nice big old torpedo cap on here. You kind of have to be careful with torpedoes, because if you're not, they can end up squeezing the tobacco down into the tip here and making for a particularly obnoxious draw. By the way, hope you like this band, because this is coming off right after I get it lit. When I picked it up, this big band here slid right the hell off. Just trying not to set the tree on fire. There's a little bit of wind noise. Like usual, there's nothing that I can really do about that. I just ask for your understanding, and all I can do is say sorry about the occasional roar into the microphone. Alright, be good to me now. That's if I keep that in frame. Alrighty. My God, those are loud motorcycles. Huh. Okay, so right from the get-go, that's definitely spiking my interest. I'm getting a very heavy coffee hit, but a rather toasty coffee. So far, this one's shaping up to be a little bit better than the last one, because there's definitely quite a bit more going on, which means that I'm having trouble picking out individual tones. Alrighty. Clean tobacco, subtle earthiness, no spice, no pepper, anything like that. Very mellow, very smooth. The actual, you get a whiff of the smoke every so often, it's got some kind of perfumey note to it. Yeah, so far this one's shaping up to be a lot better than the Divinia. Alright, that's an excellent start. I'm going to go ahead and kind of okie dokie my light here, because I think I kind of maybe got a couple of little bits messed up. Bird. Bird landed off a stick over there. So, I'm going to go ahead and fix this. I'm going to ditch this band because this is sliding all over the place, and I'll get back to you after about an inch. Alright, coming up to about a 1-inch burn time here, about an inch in. I've noticed that the draw on this is a little stiff. Otherwise, the retrohale is very interesting. It's got this kind of sweet, perfumey kind of note to it that is, it's kind of hard to put my finger on exactly what I'm getting out of it. As far as the actual mouth flavors, it started getting a little spicier, but not in like a piquant kind of way, more like a cinnamon kind of nutmeggy kind of thing. Kind of like a baking spice kind of spice. So that was actually a rather pleasant surprise. Have a little bit of coffee, a little bit of standard cigar notes. So far though, the draw on this is really stiff, and that's kind of hampering exactly how much I'm getting out of it. So I'm kind of having to double puff a little bit just to get enough smoke to actually get a good mouthful of it. Otherwise, there's kind of a lot going on in this actual smoke profile, to the point where it's kind of difficult to figure out exactly what I'm getting out of it. So far, it's coming up more like a classic kind of Maduro. Very strongly flavored, which is good. But it's kind of weird that it's kind of nondescript. I'm not trying to say that like it's a bad thing. I'm just pointing out that there's a lot going on, and it's complex to the point where you're going to have a hard time picking out individual notes, just because of the fact that everybody's going to be kind of keyed to pick out something a little different in the actual smoke. It's like I get clean tobacco, a little coffee, a little cocoa. No, maybe not cocoa, but definitely coffee for sure. Touch of bitter. I want to say it's kind of got kind of a dark ale profile. Well, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and smoke this down to the halfway point and see if it gets a little more descriptive. Because so far, it's kind of got a lot going on, to the point where it's not really apparent exactly what's going on, which is kind of weird. Don't get me wrong, it's good though. Alright, I'll get back to you at the halfway point. Alright, just a quick update here. I had a little bit of the ash fall off of there. I'm not going to hold that against the construction of this. I had a little bit of ash fall off because I had to kind of clip the actual head a little bit. I think I figured out what was causing the stiff draw. And this is kind of where the problems with torpedo style cigars is. If you don't cut it far enough, you can get a really stiff draw, because this does kind of squish the tobacco really tightly up to the head. So I ended up taking just a slightly bigger bite off the head, and for the record, this has a huge cap on it, as most torpedoes do. So you're not going to really be losing too much if you take a little bit more off than you're probably comfortable with. But yeah, that opened up the draw quite a bit. So hopefully now I'll be able to get a little bit more discernible flavor profile off of it. Alright, so not quite at the halfway point. I'll update you. I either A, get to the halfway point, or B, have something else weird happen. Alright, so I'll see you then. Alright, right about the halfway point here. I've noticed that this is doing something that I don't usually get with torpedoes. I've had to continually kind of chop down the head a little bit, just because of the fact that the draw keeps stiffening up. And this is one of the problems with torpedo style cigars, is the fact that if you're not careful, they can get a little bit of the tarry resins building up around the actual cut. It's because of the fact that it squeezes everything down. Normally I don't have this happen, but every so often it does. For some reason it's happening on this one. Flavor profile though, I'm definitely getting a lot of baking spices, clove, nutmeg, things like that. So this is definitely striking me as a dark coffee espresso, dark ale kind of cigar. You could probably also get away with like say an old-fashioned, just because of the fact that it has bitters, which if you're using Angostura, is going to have those baking spices kind of packed into it in the first place. So that would definitely be an excellent complement to this. So far though, I've had to do a number of touch-ups, and I think the fact that I'm getting such a strange draw on this is kind of hampering the overall flavor impact of the cigar. That's not to say that the actual construction is bad. You have to remember, all cigars, premium cigars at least, are handmade. So every so often you'll get one that's a little tighter or a little looser than the other. And I'm thinking that's kind of what happened with this one. The flavor profile is good, don't get me wrong. It's just, it's kind of hard to smoke just because of the fact that the draw is a little stiff. Otherwise though, I can definitely recommend hanging out with this on well, pretty much anytime you want, you know. Nice hot day after work. Get done mowing the lawn, kick back, relax. It's definitely not a very sweet cigar by any stretch. It's kind of got a little bit of spice to it, a little bit of, like I said, it's got that kind of baking spice kind of thing. The retrohale is actually pretty neat because it's kind of got a very kind of nutty, almost cocoa-y note. The retrohale kind of reminds me of like fudge with walnuts, except without that horrible texture of smooth fudge with a chunk of stuff in it. Beyond that, though, this one's kind of hard to smoke, just because of the fact that the draw is really wanky on this one. Overall, though, I would definitely say that I think this one in particular, just this one cigar, is probably the one oddball that you're bound to get every so often. Other than that, it's actually been pretty good. I could definitely call this a good companion cigar. It's going to stick with you for a long time. It's going to take a nice, long, slow burn. And it's kind of one of those deals that you'll be smoking this for quite a while. So, definitely light one up when you go to hang out with someone. You're just doing something, kicking back in the garage, doing whatever. Other than that, though, just be warned that torpedoes can have weird draws. So, anyway, I'm going to smoke this down to the nub, or basically where the band should be on a normal cigar, and give a final update from there. Overall impression, though, good cigar. Just I think this one in particular is a little off, just on the construction, which I don't think is necessarily representative of the overall line. Anyway, I'll get back to you for the final update. Alright, final update here, right here at the nub. I started noticing after the halfway point that things started getting really, really bitter. And I think I didn't know what exactly was causing that. For all the things that were making a particularly stiff draw, I think it was getting the torpedo problem. Basically what that is the fact that the head is squished down so much. What happens is the smoke ends up getting funneled. I suppose I should probably get through this tunnel, otherwise it's going to be a massive mess of echoes. But anyway, torpedoes are notorious for squeezing the head and making a particularly tight passageway for the smoke to pass through. This kind of concentrates everything, and all the plant resins that have kind of melted down and atomized collect around the outside edge, and you end up getting little tar balls. I kind of noticed this after I started seeing a little brown smudge of stuff on my hand. So I think what was happening was simply the fact that, well, it's torpedo. And torpedo do what torpedo gonna do. And it squeezed down everything, and I ended up getting this kind of mess right around the edge. I had to cut this down a little bit more. It was kind of one of the perpetual problems of the torpedo style, is the fact that you kind of have to cut a rather alarming amount from the head in order to get a good smooth draw. And I've got it to the point where the draw is good. So I think that most of my issues were just an improper cut. But unfortunately, that did end up hampering the overall smoking experience, because all the good flavors kind of got drowned out by this really bitter, blech, just bad flavor. So I suppose we could probably chalk that up to a little bit of operator error. But overall, I kind of want to say that it probably shouldn't be too much of a detriment to the overall line. That said, though, when it comes to the whole Ave Maria line, I've had two cigars from this line, and both of them have been a little lacking, I'm not gonna lie. The Divinia was definitely not worth the hype. This one is better, but I can definitely recommend not getting this in a torpedo style unless you're familiar, you know, okay with cutting a rather sizable chunk of tobacco off the head. Overall, though, the flavors have been pretty good, minus the occasional mess around the outside ring. Whew. Yeah, so far, you know, it's been good, clean tobacco, a little bit of nuttiness, some heavy baking spices, clove, nutmeg, things like that. The retrohale was kind of cocoa-y, very kind of nutty, very interesting. I definitely recommend this. I just would not recommend this in a torpedo. If you can get it in like a torpedo, a Turtle, or a Churchill, something with a normal head instead of the squeezed down torpedo neck, I would definitely recommend getting a more properly constructed cigar head. And I say that not that this is improperly constructed, because this is actually very well constructed. I'm just pointing out that the overall design of the torpedo is kind of a messed up design. That said, you can get a seriously huge ring gauge that's not necessarily a jawbreaker, and that's kind of one of the appeals of the torpedo style. Other than that, good cigar. Just definitely don't get these in torpedo unless you really are kind of bold in your cut. Beyond that, though, drink recommendations: dark ale, good coffee, whiskey cocktails, things like that. That's pretty much it. Oh, weird side note here. I have a tendency to wear hats in my video, but today I actually had kind of a reason. I woke up, my hair was doing this kind of weird, kind of Bride of Frankenstein thing, so I figured, well, rather than try to futz with this and leave half my head on the brush, I'll just go ahead and cork it up under a hat. So if I look a little strange in certain shots, that's kind of why. It's kind of that type of day. I find it kind of strange that it's like 50 degrees out, and a week ago it was so cold that you know, it's like I couldn't actually stand outside without getting frostbite. God, this state sucks. If I could figure out how to get to Arizona or Texas, I would be there. So that way I can wear a t-shirt and shorts in the winter. Well, anyway, I can recommend this, just not in a torpedo. Good cigar, messed up draw. That's pretty much all I got. Well, anyway, if you like this video or any other video, like, subscribe, leave me a comment. Let me know if you've had any kind of weird torpedo problems. Other than that, that's it for this. I'll see you next time.